What's good, YouTube fam? It's your boy Tony, aka Descendant of Chaos and Controversy. So, this video is going against my traditional way of bringing up subject matter and the things I choose to discuss, so to speak. And as I stated before, I don't really jump on the bandwagon of talking about things that are trending as far as you know, whatever is the it thing to, you know, I don't know, get views for and is popular as far as the topic of discussion goes. But being that some of my coworkers are interested in the fact that I have a YouTube channel, they review some of my content. It's like, Tony, you tend to attack a lot of issues and discuss about race, which is very interesting, giving your take and your perspective on it. And I said, yeah. And they're like, well, since we talk about movies and shows and stuff like that, what is your opinion about that actress Moses Ingram, who stars in the Obi-Wan Kenobi series? I said, what you talking about? They're like, all the racism that she's getting from those that have criticism towards her and her character or whatever. And I was like, I don't really get that much in depth with the little personal attacks when it comes to actors or actresses or whatever like that. Because, when you put on a platform, whether it's like you're entertaining or singing or doing this and stuff, you open yourself to either be well received or not be well received. You're going to deal with a lot of ignorance. It's just a given. I mean, can it be avoided? Unfortunately, no. Um, but for the sake of argument, the way I look at it, I said, okay, so Star Wars predated before I was born, I believe. I was born in '76, and I believe it came out before, maybe a year after I was born, I believe. So you had James Earl Jones, who did the voice, for Darth Vader. You have Billy D. Williams, who played Lando. Okay, so I didn't hear nothing in regards to any racism towards those individuals. And I'm not saying that there wasn't, because I didn't, do my research to see if it was indeed a fact or a factor in their cases. But regardless of the other fact, over time, James Earl Jones became the iconic. His voice for Darth Vader is iconic. You can't have Darth Vader and not put James Earl Jones' voice as the identity, as how Darth Vader is recognized. Okay, aside from how he appears in his red lightsaber, but Billy D. Williams, the Falcon that I guess he gave Han Solo, which was played by Harrison Ford. All these iconic characters over time you grew to enjoy, and you didn't look at because they were black or whatever the case may be. And a lot of the criticism when it comes to character development that I've seen when it comes to, take for example, when it comes to superheroes and stuff like that, whether it's in DC or Marvel, I pretty much am 100% behind the criticism when it comes to replacement. Okay, if you have an iconic character that's traditionally been who they were throughout time, and then you have somebody of a different race just take over that whole identity. Yeah, I have a problem with that, because that's like a cheap. I don't want to say cheap. an easy way out to avoid coming up with something original to create through you know, the creativity of one's process to come up with a character that's original. That's why when Todd McFarlane, who worked for Marvel for some time that he did, and then went off to go do Image, because yes, I was in the comics because I was very intrigued by the art, the illustration, and how comic books was put together and stuff like that. Because I went to school to become a graphic design artist. But Todd McFarlane created Spawn, Al Simmons, Black Mercenary, was taken out by the very same people who he worked for because his boss made a deal with the devil. And the devil was in the market for recruiting souls to build his army in hell to go against heaven. So that storyline was very interesting, you know? And the center of all of that was family. The reason why he came back because he had a love for his wife. Found out that he couldn't have kids. Wanda ended up being with his best friend Terry. And they ended up having a daughter, Cheyenne. I mean, originality. And then you got all these other, you know, characters that people try to put into, you know, existence. And, you know, that's where I could side with people as far as that type of criticism goes. And like I made jokes when it came to like James Earl Jones, because it seemed like every time he plays a character, whether it's Darth Vader or Mufasa, I said, damn, this black dude keeps spawning these white kids. Luke, I am your father. This black motherfucker had a white child. Then you find out later, you know, Anakin Skywalker was white. But knowing that James Earl Jones was the person, and then you have Mufasa, Simba, Matthew Broderick. I'm like, God damn. James, come on, be honest now. but all jokes aside, I mean, I'm not saying that I take light of the ignorance that people receive because I don't think anybody, regardless if you're black, white, Hispanic, or whatever, should be attacked on a racial level. But sometimes you gotta address ignorance and nip it in the butt. That's the whole reason why I speak on racism and stuff like that because the amazing Lucas has said it himself. The reason why we keep running and dealing with these same issues is because they're left unresolved because nobody wants to deal with it. They feel that symbolism is a temporary band-aid to distract us or keep us momentarily satisfied with whatever grievances that we're dealing with, but no real solutions or no tangibles is put into place for us to be, how should I say, satisfied with. Whereas we're looking at everybody else get tangibles but us. So yeah, people get sick and tired of like when they hear us responding to the ignorance. Just like I was looking at the situation on these kids, and there's various whatchamacallit issues within schools where these white kids are just getting away with just all this racial rhetoric towards other black students. And I find it kind of funny and hypocritical and contradictory to the whole CRT being the boogeyman and people worried about how white people are going to react and the white children and stuff, but you never nip in the butt the actual hatred and the racism that these people bring as a continuing tradition of hatred, you know, that is what? Taught at home and what carried out into the social construct of society, whether it's in the educational system, on a job, in law enforcement, in the courts, or whatever the case may be. So in those areas where it really affects people personally, whether it's affecting their lives and stuff like that, and then I sit there and I say it again. When white people get offended when black people act just like them towards them, they can't stand it. But it's okay for them to be the originators of this whole bullshit, subject people to all this bullshit. But when shit comes full circle, then it's a problem. It needs to get nipped in the butt. It's reverse racism. If you put something out there for people to imitate, don't get mad for creating a monster that you are responsible for, but choose not to be accountable for. It's as simple as that. But in entertainment, like who was the actress that plays Iris? She got some backlash on some racial rhetoric for her character, and the actor that plays Barry Allen in The Flash stood up for her and stuff like that. But I mean, in today's society, the racial tension is becoming more and more and more amplified. White people say that they feel like they're walking on eggshells or whatever the case may be. And I'm just like, ah. I said, if that's how you feel, imagine the position that you put black people in, where they felt like they had to walk on shells, had to know their place, stay in their lane, conduct themselves accordingly, follow your rules, conform. But then when the shoe's on the other foot, and no, two wrongs don't make a right. I agree. But you can't hold one group accountable for practicing what they've been learning by what they've been subjected to by those who put them through the shit. Just saying. But as far as that situation goes with Moses Ingram, I mean, she's in a position where I'm not going to like really say her acting is all of that, but she's been put in a fortunate position to have a key role, a leading role, so to speak, in this series. And I mean, it is what it is. When you're fortunate enough to be in a better position, I mean, yeah, nobody likes criticism. Nobody likes to be subjected towards ignorance or hatred or racism or whatever the case may be. That's understood. But if you at a certain level that these other people aren't, I know for me personally, it'll be easy for me to disregard the bullshit. I'm like, you just mad because you're not in the position that I am in. That I mean, basically, that's what it all boils down to. You know, people being envious of not being where you're at, or being in the position that you're in, instead of worrying about their own situation and shit like that. But it is what it is. Um, but that's pretty much my take on it. Anyway, that's my thoughts on that particular subject. Um, Let me know what you think. Leave a comment in the comment section. Please hit that like button. Share this video. Um, I know I've been lacking, but I've been dealing with some shit with my son and stuff like that. But and then of course I be having him, so it's hard for me to give him my undivided attention and do these videos and not have him interrupt me while I'm trying to talk about things that are serious where children really shouldn't be involved in discussion, so to speak, when it comes to adult speaking. But anyway, until next time, until next video, you already know. Hold on. I'm a little parched. It's been busy today. They had a pride event going on in town, and yeah. But I got another video following this one. So stay tuned.